What's up everybody, Sunkissed here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that the Fallout 76 community wants added to this game in 2025 and beyond. The last video I did was 5 things that I'd like to see added to this game in 2025, and there was a lot of really great ideas in the comment section, so I wanted to kind of look at those and react to them. I definitely had a lot of fun filming this video, so I'd really like to do another one in this style. So what I'd like to know from you is, how would you like to rework certain things in the game to be more interesting? For example, how would you make a junkies build more interesting? What sort of balancing would you do to make that viable? And those sort of things. So let me know in the comments down below, and if I get enough comments, there's a good chance I'll react to your comment in the next video. Alright, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you at the end of the video. Alright, starting off with an easy one, and I've seen this one quite a bit, so let's get right into it. Coming from Pizza R69, what we need is the cap limit raised. With the raids and being able to sell modules and serums easily, I'm always at max caps. It'd be nice if they at least double it. So I have a couple thoughts on that. There is some concern about if you raise the max caps, people will just start artificially inflating their prices at their vendors and stuff like that. I don't really know how that would happen. I would have to kind of look at maybe other MMOs that have done something similar to that, but I definitely like this idea. One thing that could potentially be an alternative option to that would be that the world vendors maybe have more stuff that's worth purchasing. For example, some of the more rare chems or rare food items become more readily available to purchase from in-game vendors. I think giving people more stuff to spend their caps on really alleviates the issue of, having to raise the max caps. I think I find myself looking for stuff to spend my caps on at vendors and stuff, more so than wishing that I had a higher cap limit. Next up, we have DH8263. Solid points. You wholeheartedly agree with all 5. One thing you'd like to see is a mod stash box, and also reduce the cost of crafting known mods, and also let us scrap mods with a chance of learning them. So there's 3 things in your comment here that we can dissect. First one being a mod stash box. I don't necessarily think that's the best way to approach that. I don't think we really need to do that. I think the easiest way to kind of deal with the issue of them taking up too much space is to reduce their weight. Either let us put them in our scrap box, but then I guess that kind of limits to people that have Fallout first. So I think a better idea would just be to reduce the weight of legendary mods, or just mods in general. I mean, there's no way they should be a whole pound. It should either be quarter pound or less at the most. Secondly, the reducing the cost to craft known mods. I agree there. It's quite a bit of work to, if you, let's say you wanted to fully kit out a 3-star weapon or a 4-star weapon. I mean, you're talking about days and weeks worth of, getting your daily script limit, if that's like the only way you're getting script. I know there's other ways to do it, but point being, it's pretty time consuming. I don't think it needs to be quite as time consuming as it is. Next is scrapping mods with a chance to learn them. I really like this idea. I've been an advocate of this idea for a while. I've actually kind of chatted about that sort of stuff like in some of my Xbox parties with my friends, but I think they'd have to do a pretty good job balancing the chances there, because theoretically by adding an additional way to learn mods, you're increasing your chances overall. So I don't necessarily know if it should have the same chance to drop as scrapping the weapon, or something different, or they could be balanced, but I think there's a fine line between learning too fast and learning too slow, which I think is kind of leaning towards that right now. But great ideas. From Joe Clark next here, I'm just going to kind of summarize what this comment is saying outside of what I've already covered. Already talked about the caps, but something new in here is the ability to turn off / change the power armor animations. Also, being able to favorite and essentially put a flag on an item to mark it as scrap, and be able to mass scrap all the weapons, and also to save them. So I don't know if you've ever played Borderlands before, but as he mentions in his comment here, there's a system like that where you can go through your inventory, mark something as junk, or you mark it as a favorite, and then there's an option essentially to scrap all the things you've marked as junk, which essentially that would be nice, especially if you have a large list of legendary weapons in your stash that you want to scrap. Then you don't have to spam A or whatever button it is on PC a bunch of times. And as far as the power armor animation stuff goes, I definitely agree. I think we should be able to toggle that on and off I know there's a bug going around right now that's pretty common of people getting stuck in the entrance animation for power armor, which is definitely frustrating, especially when you're doing raids and people crash because of it, and then you gotta wait for them to rejoin. So I think if we could disable that animation as an option, that would be great. At the very least, I think we should have a toggle in the settings on a preferred entrance animation. There's two different animations for power armor right now to enter it. There's a slower one when you're outside of combat, and there's a faster one where your character kind of jumps into it when you're in combat. It'd be nice to have the option to just turn the combat animation entrance on full time. Kind of similar how you could turn off screen shake or muzzle flash and stuff like that. From Lee the Great 2760, list a couple things here. Stache increased, Stache UI update, and Chem Stache. Anything bought for gold can be shared among all your characters. It would allow for more playstyles. Lobby voting on events, bigger build limit, and bank caps to spread around all your characters. I've varying opinions on these here. Stache increase, definitely agree with that. If the stash is increased, I don't necessarily know if you'd need a chem stash, but I think a better UI would allow for sorting and stuff of the chems in your stash to be easier. I don't necessarily think we need a stash just for chems, but good idea in principle there. Gold bullion items should be shared between characters. I agree with that as well. I think offering play styles for all your characters is always a good option. Lobby voting on events. I've actually kind of pondered this idea myself a little bit, and it'd be it'd be interesting to see how it played out, because there's obvious events that are going to win the vote every time. So I think as long as they can randomize it the right way or create the correct combination of maps that go against, or events that go against each other for what's going to happen, that would be great. Or if let's say maybe you only vote on it once an hour, so that way you don't have to worry about specific events taking over every time all the time. So instead of let's say it's not mutated weekend at the top of the hour, it's an event where you vote for it versus it being mutated. So could do something like that. Bigger build limit, I definitely agree with that too. I don't necessarily know if it's server stability related in terms of why they have the build limits the way it is now, but I'm sure everybody would appreciate a bigger build limit. One of the best parts about this game is the creativity people can express through their camps, so I'd love to see more intricate and cooler camps. And bank caps spread around all your characters. I agree, because if you have a mule character, you can transfer them. So if you didn't have to go through, transferring it on a mule, that'd be appreciated if you could just share it amongst your characters. From, I'm not gonna say that name. You can read it. Vendors closing at max caps would be a great feature. Search option would be awesome. You play Rust on PC and they have a trading window. This would be so simple to implement and would stop scammers in their tracks. I also think they should implement a refrigerated vending machine for consumables that spoil. All of that I agree with. Great ideas there. Kind of similar to what I mentioned in my last video, a system where both players could essentially offer something up, see what's on offer, and then accept the trade. However Bethesda would want to tackle that system would be much appreciated to prevent the scammers in their tracks, like the comment says here. Also, a refrigerated vending machine for consumables, that would definitely be nice too, especially for people that have resource generating stuff for carnivores. I mean, if you could sell that stuff, that'd be awesome. I would definitely buy smoked Meyerling fillets from people's camps. I'm always looking for extra carry weight, so sometimes it feels like the one I have in my camp isn't spitting them out fast enough. So that'd be awesome if I could have an easier chance at finding them in vendors around the map. And vendors closing at max caps, that was one of my ideas in the video. We're going to touch on that topic a little bit further in the video again as well. From Lunar Hexagon 8108, we got a really nice and well thought out comment from Lunar here. So if you have the chance, definitely pause and read the whole thing. But for the sake of time in this video, I'm just going to cover the point that's highlighted in red here. And that is that they'd like the option to sell items for another currency, like an option to sell script or stamps or gold in your camp. I really like that idea. I think whatever gear you have in your vendor, you should be able to set the price and set the currency type that you want to accept for that. I think that would be a very interesting aspect of the game. And also a step further than that, I think you should be able to offer some sort of currency exchange in your vendor. Let's say you have a bunch of stamps, but you need modules. You could have your stamps listed for sale that require modules to purchase those stamps, and vice versa for all the other currencies. I think that the community would kind of naturally reach a exchange rate for things, and it would be really cool to see how that played out. From Gusta Baquezeda, sorry if I said that wrong, try my best. Herbivore food buff generators would be nice. I definitely agree. Carnivores have been getting all of the love essentially when it comes to meaningful food buff generators within camps. So let's get some herbivore food buffs for everybody. From Pete Lapino, nuke silo should be an additional 2 to 5 modules and some treasury notes as well. Whoever runs the silo should be rewarded for the additional time investment. I definitely agree with you on that. I have seen quite the shortage of nuke bosses recently because of everybody doing the raids, which is very, very understandable. But I think some extra incentive to do the modules, or to do the silos and get some additional rewards would be great. And I don't think asking for 2 to 5 modules and treasury notes is anything too crazy. So I really like this idea. From J Doggy. First time to your channel, great video. Well, thank you very much, J Doggy. I'd like the search bar when camp building. You would love to see crossplay in Fallout 76. You're not a power armor user, and like to see more 4-star effects added to regular armor. I agree with you here. I know pretty much all of the love for 4-star armor went to power armor, and even if it's not a power armor specific mod, it is usually way more powerful in power armor. So I would definitely like to see some additional 4-star mods for non-power armor. From a culinary contemplation, this is a fun one here. We should be able to dual wield pistols. I agree with you. Anybody here that's played Modern Warfare 2 had a ton of fun running around with Akimbo Scorpions and Akimbo Model 1887, so dual wielding would be a pretty cool option. Zonder Bunny 4655. You'd like to plug a mouse and keyboard into your console. Please let you play with the mouse and keyboard. If you want on a console, your PC is a baked potato. Well, sorry to hear about your PC. I wholeheartedly agree with this one. I played Fallout 4 on my gaming PC with mouse and keyboard, and I really liked how Fallout feels on mouse and keyboard. So if I had the option to play that way or switch between the two on console, that would be great. And also kind of a good holdover until we hopefully get crossplay. From Squarely Wrath. You'd like to see meaningful choices with consequences, some actual difficulty. Right now in the game, you can't die of hunger or thirst. Less codified items and world building. The game is stupidly easy to the point now that not even new content manages to entertain. I definitely could see your point here. I think it would be good to have an option that actually gives you rewards for a more difficult option. I know some of the kind of side modes that they've offered do offer some additional challenges within them. However, the stuff you earn from it doesn't grant you anything. So maybe having additional difficult worlds where you could die of hunger, you could die of thirst, disease chances are increased, so there's more survival aspects, that sort of thing. I think if there were servers specifically for that maybe offered additional rewards or different types of rewards, that would be a good option. That way people that want to play the game the way it is now can do that, and people that want more of a challenge or want to mix up their play style, then they could go try those servers too. I think mainly the thing is some of those side modes that they add, I think people are hesitant to try them because it doesn't share any progress with their main character and account. From Razil699, Railway needs the Nerf reverted back to a 91 fire rate. The Railway doesn't compete with the new heavy Gatling plasma / heavy meta. Must balance at 2025, and also states that they would like a stash box for mods. I kind of touched on it earlier. I think the fastest and easiest way to solve that issue, to your second point, would just be reducing the weight of legendary modules. And also I agree that other weapons that were nerfed recently, kind of mostly Commando, didn't really need that, especially considering how strong heavy weapons are now. So I think Commando and especially Rifleman could use a little bump upward. From Joe Mama 664, critically needs a map expansion. You're so done with this map. I replied there. I really liked the Skyline Valley map expansion. Would love to see more of that. Great quest line 2, best one that they've added so far. And Joe Mama here is wanting a brand new map. I would love to see that. I think that would help the game tremendously in terms of bringing new players in, keeping the players that are here very happy. But I think we have to manage our expectations a little bit. I mean, a whole new map, I mean, we're talking, you know, they would have had to been developing that for a couple years now in the background. And I don't necessarily know if that's possible given the dev team size and the resources that they're allocated right now. If Microsoft wanted it to happen, they definitely could. And I hope they do. And, you know, maybe we'll have a higher chance of this happening if we get another resurgence from the Fallout TV show season 2 and, you know, those players stick around, or, you know, something else happens. But as much as I'd love to see this idea happen, I think we'll probably steady see small additions to the map. And, you know, I'm fine with that, but we can dream big. All right, our last comment here, coming from Saint Bo. Definitely had some points to disagree with me on, and that's totally fine. And, you know, if you guys have points that you disagree with me in the video or, you know, in the comment section, totally fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion and the reasons that they think those things, but let's, you know, keep it respectful. Don't think that this was disrespectful or anything like that, but I just want to remind people that when we're having our discourse in the comments. But let's get into it. You can get on board with a few of these, but there are some you're going to give the thumbs down emote to. The reason for the thumbs down is due to you are only seeing it from strictly your point of view and have not considered the whole impact it would have on the game. For instance, the personal vendor locking when you hit max cap. What you're saying is you want to punish other players because you can't manage your caps. That's insane and would kill the community really fast. Imagine hunting for something for months. It's there in someone's vendor, but it's locked because a jabroni is at max caps. To hell with that noise. If you can't manage what you're selling with how many caps you have, then that's on you, not the other players. Moving on to crossplay. You have no issue with console playing with console, but console with PC is a different story. Now, that's the part I'm going to react to here. That's what I have time for, but I encourage everybody to read the second half of that. So firstly, I can understand that there's an issue with the vendors closing down once you hit max caps. Now, I think the important thing that I would like to state is how that's implemented, because I think that really changes how it would play out and avoid kind of the scenario that you laid out. I don't think that your public icon should remain on after it closes, nor should the person that's currently at the cap that just bought the last item that maxed them out be barred from buying that item. I think essentially what should happen is, let's say the player has 35,000 caps and they have something listed for 10,000 caps and you found that's the item you want. I think you should be able to purchase that still, and after that purchase gets them to max cap, their vendor closes and you get a notification. To me, I think that is reasonable. I can understand other opinions, but someone in the other comment also, a different comment mentioned, you know, sometimes it's not your fault. You could be doing a nuke silo. You could be in the middle of a raid. You know, you could be doing you could have went to take a bathroom break really quick. And that's not something I think people are a jabroni for doing. I mean, sometimes there's just natural things where you're not at your controller or your keyboard and, you know, you can't avoid it. But onto the crossplay thing, I can understand that there's potential issues with PC coming to console crossplay because of, you know, there's kind of like more glitches and hacks and dupes and that sort of stuff. But I think we shouldn't let that be an excuse. And I think that Double 11 and Bethesda can put the work in necessary to make that not a problem if they'd like to. And also, I don't really think the issues that are there are even that big of a deal. Most games that have crossplay, you can turn crossplay off. So there's that option. But I understand the items could bleed from the PC market into the console market. That's something that should be tackled systematically and strategically by the devs. I don't want to just blanketly say that there's going to be too many problems, so it's not even worth trying. But that's going to do it for kind of reacting to comments and stuff for this video. Again, keep it respectful and keep it interesting in the comments. We don't want, you know, stuff going ridiculous, but I really do appreciate everybody that commented on that video. I really loved the ideas, and you know, hopefully some of this can be seen by people at Double 11 or Bethesda possibly, and maybe we can get some of this stuff implemented. Again, if you'd like to reply to this video and let me know how you'd like to make certain build styles interesting or what you'd change about perks to make them viable, leave it down in the comments below and I will take a look, and if I get enough of those comments, use that in my next video. And additionally, if you have something to reply to in this video, a specific comment that I'm commenting on, if you could leave a timestamp in your comment so people know what you're talking about, or you know, can easier or more easily find the comment that they're commenting on, that would be appreciated as well. That's going to do it for this video. I appreciate it a ton. Hit the like button, sub, and I'll catch you in the next one.